Alright, a lot of people have been asking me lately to make a video on how I lube my patches using my patch lube. Frontier's Anti-Rust and Patch Lube. First off, unscrew the cap. It'll have a paper label and a styrofoam seal on the lid. Now, you don't have to melt it down like over here. You can scoop out a little bit, put it in a microwavable bowl and do it in a microwave just to melt it down. Next, I took all my patches, or all the patches that I'm going to lube, and I went through all of them, and the best I could do was just any little frays that were along the edges or inside the patch, I went and got rid of them. If you have a fray that's running across the patch in the ball, that's obviously going to create a tighter tolerance, and you want to eliminate that as much as possible. Alright, now that the lube is melted, grab 3 patches. Kind of make like a little hamburger here. We're going to take the one patch and just soak it. Make sure that lube isn't too hot because it can burn you. Alright, now that that patch is soaked and it's in there, go ahead and take it put it on top of a dry patch. Take your other dry patch and stack it and just squeeze. Now a lot of people ask me how much is too much lube. As long as it's consistent, you can have a lot of lube on it. I like to have about a medium amount. I don't want it dry to where it's going to blow through. But in my case, I don't like a very heavily lube patch. Just a little messier and a little wasteful. Whew, that was warm. Just work that patch lube into the patch. Okay, just go ahead and work that lube into the patch and make sure everything is lubricated. And you can look at my hands, they're not a mess. You don't need a whole lot of lube in there. You just need to make sure they're well saturated and all the way into it. That's 3. Grab another 3 dry. Just blowing off all the frays. Dip it. Dip it. You can do 100 patches just within a few minutes. It's important, work that lube into it. You don't want any dry spots in your patch, otherwise that's a weak spot, that's where it's going to burn out. That's where your accuracy goes downhill. Okay. And that's what I'll do. I'll just keep going and going and going until I turn all my dry patches into lube patches. Alright, next up, get them in a nice uniform stack. As close as you can. It doesn't really matter too much. Take a heavy duty paper towel or a rag, clean rag, and just sandwich it and squeeze. All we're going to do is just soak up the excess lube. A lot of the lube actually squeezes out the side of the patch. It really depends on how much you're really putting on there. But all we're going to do is just go ahead and soak up the excess. Shouldn't be a whole lot in mine. No, not much at all. But anyway, these patches are ready. It's as easy as just melting your lube down and dipping a patch and then 2 dry right up on top of it. So that's it. And you can notice these are nice, light, and fluffy. You don't really want your patch so overloaded that it's hard, especially when it dries. It should always feel like it's just been lightly misted with a spray oil.